draft resolutions are basically the bread and butter of the UN work. Draft resolutions, when they become resolutions, when they become formal decisions of the UN Crime Commission or of the UN Congress, or the UN Congress doesn't adopt resolutions anymore, they have a declaration, but of Conference of the States Parties, they will then set the tone of the work, basically establish the framework for the work. Draft resolutions, they have different purposes. One is you're making a policy statement. For example, you can have a draft resolution on prevention of violence against women. And when you then adopt this resolution on prevention of violence against women, you're indicating that this is an important topic, and you're also telling the member states and telling the private sector and telling the international community in general what they should do in order to prevent violence. A kind of a political impact with these resolutions. When you want to, for example, regret some developments, for example, the way that certain migrant workers or ethnic minorities are being dealt with in general, then you can have a resolution adopted which makes the political statement that what is being done in certain countries is unacceptable. Then you have a practical aspect for draft resolutions. When you adopt a resolution, you usually request that the Secretariat does something. Pull together some information, prepare a report, arrange a meeting, contact other stakeholders and find out what they think about this. And in this way, you are telling the telling the UNODC that they should do something so that the Commission at a later stage, or the Conference of the States Parties to the two UN crime conventions, they will then act on that. Then there's also, it's a curiosity, but resolutions, they also establish language, establish agreed language. The UN works in different languages. Mostly it works in English, but I don't want to antagonize my Francophone or Russian-speaking, Chinese-speaking, Arabic-speaking, or Spanish-speaking colleagues. But English is basically the fallback language where most of the informal meetings are held, and that's where you do the drafting, and that's when you start teasing out certain formulations, certain language. And the way that you refer, for example, to human rights standards, the internationally respected or the internationally recognized internationally respected human rights standards, when you use a certain formulation, you almost have to repeat that same formulation time after time after time again. So that maybe in 10 years or in 20 years, when you have another draft resolution that refers to human rights standards, someone will say, oh, no, 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 we cannot say it this way because in our resolution adopted in 2004, we formulated it this way. So I suggest that we use the agreed language. So draft resolutions in this way, they can take policy forward, they can call upon more work, they can make political statements, but it can also in a way fossilize language so that language becomes rather slow to develop, which is unfortunate, but perhaps unavoidable.